Hi folks, as you know, we're all about energy savings here. Today we're going to talk about how you can take some concepts that we talk about with home energy savings on the road with you, and you can actually use these concepts and apply them to the way that you drive in order to really benefit from some of these savings and the mileage in particular on your vehicle. Also in the wear and tear on your engine, which, as you know, if you have to replace that, can be quite a big ticket item indeed. So we're going to talk about hypermiling, and we're going to talk about some misconceptions and maybe some other ideas and ways to do this. We're going to go first through 10 steps, 10 techniques that you can apply to the way you drive and your daily driving routines in order to get the most benefit from this concept. So the first tip we have for you is to drive stick, if you can. Now, as you see, I'm standing here in front of a standard automobile. Stick always gets better mileage than an automatic because you have more control over the way that the engine works, and you can shift gears when you want, okay? Stick is coming back in a big way because price of gas is going up and people are realizing the benefit of these cars. So hopefully we'll see a lot more automobile manufacturers manufacturing more models available in standard very shortly. It's not just for imports anymore. A lot of small cars are coming back. So this is one way in which hypermiling is, it's kind of a relative thing. If you're driving a big truck as opposed to driving a small car, I mean, it's about getting the most out of what you're working with, okay? So the second tip will be to stop speeding. I mean, not only will you be a safer and more responsible driver, not only will you rack up fewer speeding tickets and have to pay them, but you're going to burn less gas getting to where you're going. So slow down, leave yourself enough time to get there, and you're going to see some real savings. Number 3 is simply to coast and not brake. Now, this can be done in a stick, and it can be done in an automatic vehicle. So if you're going down a hill, say, either on the highway or in the city, just pop it into neutral and let gravity do the work for you. Momentum will get you there. This is especially true if you're approaching a red light. Don't speed to get there. What are you in such a hurry for? Just slow down and let the car come to a stop on its own. If you pop it into neutral and you slow down, chances are that the light you're slowing down to meet will turn green before you even get there, and you can just sort of pop it into drive and pick up where you left off, and then you're not being so hard on your brakes, you're not being so hard on your engine, and you're not burning as much gas. Number 4 is to lighten the load in your car. So if you've still got lawn chairs and coolers or tools or what have you from, whatever you were doing last weekend rattling around in your trunk, I mean, you're paying money to haul those around with you. Get them out, get them stored away in the garage, and keep the load nice and light. Number 5 is how you shift. Okay, so if you shift slowly and keep the revs nice and low while you're doing it, then you're not going to burn as much gas popping it into the next gear. That's a given. Tip number 6 is all about planning your daily commute. So if you're one of the many Americans taking your car on the road every day to your place of work, back and forth, you're probably accustomed to going a certain way. But you want to throw this into question because it may not be the most efficient for your mileage. Try and avoid hills and try and avoid intersections and stop signs as well. You're going to want to find a common balance between these two things to get the most out of your mileage on your daily commute. Tip number 7 is mostly going to apply to people who live in climates that get a little bit colder. But if you're able to park in the sun and not the shade, your engine is going to spend that much less time getting the interior of your car warm enough for you to get in and go for a drive. So park in the sun and make it easy for your engine to warm up. Number 8, stop using the air conditioner. If you're on the highway, you don't necessarily want to roll the windows down. That can also translate into very bad mileage. But when you're just driving around in town, see if rolling down the window is good enough, to keep the inside of the car cool enough for you. The AC really puts a strain on the engine, and you'll burn a lot of gas just running it. Number 9 may seem obvious, but quite simply, don't idle your car. Everywhere I go, somebody is leaving their car running while they run into a store, run into a friend's house. A, this isn't safe, and you might come back out to find your car not where you left it. But B, I mean, this is just burning gas. It's just throwing gas away for no reason at all. Think about all the drive-through lineups across the country and the cars that are piled up, running away, going nowhere, burning gas. Now that's a big bite that we all have to take out of that situation. So if we can each reduce our fuel consumption in this way, then that'll translate into better savings for all of us. 10. 10 is planning your errands. So this is a little bit like planning your commute, although this is more likely to change on a day-to-day basis. So let's say you have 3 things to go out and do. Try looking at them. Look at it on a map and plan a route that makes the most sense and forces your car to go to the least amount of work to get you to these places and get home again. Okay, now we're just going to talk about some maintenance tips. We're going to go through 5 of them, and these are just really easy, regular things to do that you can probably do yourself for the most part. And this is just keeping your engine in tip-top shape and like the hypermiling techniques, not forcing your engine to work so hard. Okay, the first one is regular oil changes, and this is the most neglected thing that car owners are guilty of. Get regular oil changes. This depends on your mileage, so I mean, they'll tell you if you're going to get a regular oil change, they'll give you a slip and they'll tell you, you know, when your odometer ticks over to this point, this is when you're due again, and you should probably pay attention to that. Maintenance tip number 2 is all about the tire pressure, okay? You want to keep your tires balanced. And the best way to do this is to spend a couple of bucks on a tire gauge. This is just a little thing, it's about the size of a pen, and go around your car and check all of the tires. I think I got one of these for free the last time I got an oil change, actually. So it's absolutely, for a couple of bucks, one of the best investments you can make. Tip number 3 is about getting a seasonal checkup, okay? And what these guys are going to do is they're going to look for places where there's buildup in the engine, places where things are getting clogged. They're going to check the lines. Your engine has to work hard to force fluids and to force fuel through the cylinders when buildup occurs, okay? So by getting this cleaned out regularly, you're going to save a lot of fuel because it isn't going to have to use so much to run. These guys are also going to tell you to get your snow tires off. So if you're in a colder climate also, you're probably going to use some snow tires. Snow tires can help a lot with efficiency in the winter because you're not using as much energy spinning your tires going nowhere, okay? So snow tires will translate into big savings then, but once the snow melts, you want to get them off. Tip number 4 is all about your filters, okay? Now, when you go and get your seasonal checkup, they're going to be on you about changing your oil filter, and that's definitely something you should do. But the air filter is something you want to consider as well, and you can pick these things up anywhere. You can change them yourself. You want to take a regular look at it. If it's getting a little brown, you want to replace it. If you really want to be environmentally friendly about it, there's a filter called a K&N filter, and these things are washable. You can take these things out, you can wash them multiple times. So they cost a little bit more money up front, but you're going to make savings in the long run by not having to go to the store for a long time afterwards. Okay, now the last maintenance tip we have for you here is about the gas level in your car. And particularly if your vehicle has a large gas tank, you can burn a lot of gas towing around your gas tank with you, okay? Because it's going to be full and it's going to weigh a lot. So try and find an optimum balance. The flip side of this coin is that you don't want your tank to get too low. Reason being, much like changing your oil filters and everything else like that when we're talking about optimum performance, is that it's going to use the fuel from the bottom of the tank, and in any type of vehicle this is going to be full of particulate and residue, maybe even some corrosion from the inside of the tank. That doesn't stop your engine from burning it, but it has to work a lot harder to do so. So try and keep your tank between 1/4 and 1/2 full, and you're liable to see some really great savings there. One thing that I kind of want to issue a disclaimer here about in the whole hypermiling scenario is drafting. Now, you can look this stuff up on the internet, and you'll find a lot of people that will recommend drafting as a great way to save mileage. Now, what drafting is pulling in behind other vehicles, basically tailgating them on the road, especially large trucks, and you're taking advantage of their airflow. They're basically braking the wind for you, and especially behind trucks, the air will come down over top and will actually pull you along, and this is valid and it will work, but we're not going to recommend that here because quite frankly it's just far too dangerous. So we hope these tips have been of some use to you, and we hope to see you again.